All right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. We are here in wonderful Interlagos. It is time for round 3 of the MidWest Formula 1 Division 2 Championship here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we are just about set to kick off our short qualifying session, and we've got some drivers hitting the track. Nicky 64 in the McLaren on the charge here, starting his out lap to lead into his flying lap, and my oh my, I am excited to kick this off here around this circuit here in Brazil, around Interlagos. It's always a fantastic race, always really exciting to see what the drivers are going to do here. It is a driver favorite, a fan favorite, and of course, as I've said before in previous streams, it is a commentator's favorite, at least as far as I'm concerned here, because Brazil, it's always got a little bit of everything. You'll see some fast-paced racing. Of course you hate to see it happen, but there is always an incident or two to be involved. And of course, as you might be able to tell, there is always weather to take into account. This circuit is known to bring out some wet weather racing, which can very much so make things interesting. But here we go. Forza Juve starting us off with a flying lap, heading towards the Senna S's through turns 1 and turns 1, 2, through 3, I should say, here quickly on the power, opening up that DRS flap, the rear wing there, charging down towards turn 4, this left-hander. Watch out for the outside curb, very easy to lose it there on that corner. But other than that, nothing to be too worried about. Now, of course, entering Sector 2, which is a bit more of the technical, tricky portion of the circuit. A lot of slow corners where you want to get quickly on the acceleration to not lose too much time. But of course, it is very easy to mishandle the car here if you're not too careful. But this is going to be it's looking to be a pretty good lap here so far, as he makes it through the danger zone, does Forza Juve in the Mercedes, around the hard braking left-hander here, up the hill, the sweeping left as he heads towards the line. You're gonna watch him stick to the left here as he heads towards the line, hug that inside wall, and it's a 106.6. But as drivers are finishing their laps, let's switch over. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna keep this in my back pocket for later. Some of you might already be aware of where I'm gonna be going with this, but you know what? I'm gonna keep it here in my back pocket. All I'll say is keep an eye on one of the AlphaTauris here as the session plays along. It's a bit of a familiar face. Some of you who are potentially maybe not so new to MidWest Formula 1 might be well aware of him by now, but don't worry, he will get the introduction he so deserves here a little bit later in the session, once he does get on a true flying lap. But for now, we're watching Tiger NASCAR heading towards the line, finishing his first flying lap. Forza Juve's time is still the time to beat, and even after Tiger NASCAR completes his first lap, puts him up into P3, but not fast enough to possibly snag that provisional pole position here, with still a couple few minutes left to go. Now, going around the final corner, let's head back to him here, as it looks like he's on a flyer of a lap. It is the former Division 1 champion, not the former Division 1 championship, but he's the champion of the Division 1 championship formerly. It's Kenny 25, giving a little bit of a royalty welcome here for him, as he has returned to the grid here in Division 2. Doesn't look to have missed too much pace here compared to what we've seen, up into P3, a little bit quicker than Tiger NASCAR with a 106.9, but as I ride on board, you can see it just briefly as you're watching that AlphaTauri. It looks like there is some rain coming down, a little bit of moisture here on the... Ooh, that was close. As you saw Nero Nix coming through on what I can only assume was a flying lap right now. You saw the Monkey Mafia getting out of the way on his out lap, seemingly getting ahead of Kenny. Didn't notice there was Nero Nix coming behind. I don't think Kenny did either, as that got a little bit closer than it needed to be, but thankfully the worst was avoided here as Neuronix is coming around the final corner. But like I was saying, you can see a few droplets of rain starting to fall here as Neuronix goes P2, continuing that momentum. But this could be something that could play effect here as qualifying continues if this rain does worsen as the session continues on. We'll keep an eye out on that. But for now, let's switch over to the Alfa Romeo of Monkey Mafia, or the Monkey Mafia, as he is on a flying lap. Of course, everybody's favorite monkey here on the track, but of course Interlagos doesn't seem to like him too much, giving him an invalidation through that flying lap, going a little bit too wide on the exit of what was turn 4 or turn 5 there. So unfortunately that lap will not count for much for Monkey Mafia, as he is going to have to go around one more time. Now Marfincelli here in the Alpine is running a flying lap himself, a little bit further down, and is of course one of 5 drivers who have yet to set a time, who have yet to put any times here on the board. And given the way the conditions are improving, or deteriorating, I should say, doing the opposite of improving, you might want to be getting a lap time in sooner rather than later. The last thing you want to be is stuck in a situation where the rain does start to fall a lot stronger than what it has been doing for now, and then you end up, you can still set a lap time, but you're essentially not going to have nearly as much pace as what you would ideally like. So for Marfincelli, looking like to be a pretty valid lap here, crosses the line, 6th fastest for the Alpine driver, and that puts him in the, I believe he is the lead Alpine driver, as Forza Juve is still leading the timing tables here in that Mercedes. Season Smith is heading towards the line. He crosses the line, and he goes 6th fastest, a little bit faster than Marfincelli, a 107.157 here. That puts him up into P6. So needs to find a little bit more time here if he wants to possibly break into the top 5, I should say. Definitely going to have to be sub 107 from what you're seeing here. Houdini crossing the line, only 14th fastest for the Ferrari driver, but although he is on the medium tires, running that alternate strategy possibly to start this race, but of course not making it through into the top 10 is affecting just a little bit. And for Fuzail M1, it's a bit of a similar story for him. Does go faster than Houdini, but still in P14, not fast enough to get that top 10 here to really be able to start on those medium tires. Now I'll switch over very quickly. You can see here with the best times, everybody is on the softs other than Fuzail and Houdini. So that is a little bit interesting here, heading down towards the nearing the end of qualifying here, as we've got yellow flags in Sector 2, drivers letting others out of the way, and it is looking as though the rain is starting to get ever so slightly worse here. So I feel sooner rather than later we're going to start seeing either drivers just calling it quits on qualifying once this track does deteriorate, or we're going to start seeing drivers coming out on those intermediate tires just to maybe get some reps and some laps in here. Of course, if we are expecting wet weather during the race, it might not be a bad idea, but if conditions are proving to be dry, then I don't think that will be the case. But I'll keep. Let's get my chat open here on the stream, just so I can keep a look and interact with some of you guys in the chat. Hello, how are you all doing? Happy you could join us here for what is going to be a very exciting session of racing action, as it always is here for the Division 2 Championship. If you're just tuning in, you'll see Forza Juve heading the timing tables here, but of course, with 8 minutes to go, drivers are really looking to improve, one of which is, of course, Kenny 25, and just a little check-in for those who might have just tuned in. Kenny is returning to the Midwest. He's reserving, but returning here today around Interlagos for a guest appearance. Going purple in the second sector, heading towards the line, and we'll see what the time is going to be for the former Division 1 champion here of Midwest Formula 1, and there is that pace that we have come to expect. Kenny, 25 on a flyer of a lap, taking that provisional pole position, albeit only just away from Forza Juve. It's a 106.614, 6/1000ths of a second faster than the Mercedes driver, who is currently sitting in the pits and has not come out anytime soon to set a second lap, but we might see him come out now. That might be the extra push he needs. Now, Dace TG2 is about to finish a lap right now. What's he going to do? He goes fast. It's a 106.370 for the Williams driver. So Dace was on an absolute flyer, and he smashes the time set by Kenny, going about 0.3 faster, or I could say 2.5 faster, but still, a 106.3 is the time to beat, and it looks like these slightly rainy conditions do not seem to be affecting the drivers all that much here as far as this qualifying session is concerned. You're still seeing everybody out on the softs, but if you look at your mini-map right now on the bottom left, this track is looking very busy. So this is telling me possibly that these conditions might be changing rather quickly between now and the end of qualifying. So a lot of drivers looking to get their one and only, or their final flying laps in well before that happens, to not lose out on pace. Now Niru Nix diving into the pits, abandoning that lap, wasn't happy with it, is leaving that the way it is. The Red Bull of Subtle But Whole is doing a little bit something similar, not happy with his lap, getting out of the way, and you can see the traffic that he's having to let through here. Looks like there's an AlphaTauri, a McLaren, looks like there's an Aston Martin here, and even a Ferrari that needs to get by. So that's a lot of time loss for Settle here in qualifying, but I think he should still have time as long as these conditions don't get worse as the session plays along. But we'll move over to that one of those McLarens. It's Nicky64 back on a flying lap right now in that McLaren car, and looking to be pushing a little bit here from what I can possibly see. Heading up the hill. There goes the Monkey Mafia getting out of the way, and the Monkey Mafia currently sitting in 14th for those who were concerned, needing to improve, and I think it's not going to be this lap for the Alfa Romeo driver. As for the McLaren driver here, we'll take a look at the Sector 2 time, as there was an Alpine exploring the grass a little bit, getting out of the way. Nothing to worry about too much there. That was Murph and Selly showing a lot of courtesy here with the traffic coming up. That's what you love to see from all the drivers. Now around the final few corners now comes Nicky64, slowing way up here, and that is going to be Nicky into the pits. Now Detail is out of this session. It looks like he retired in the pits. Does not feel as if he's going to be improving. So we'll be remaining down in 13th at best, and could very much so fall down a little bit lower if he's not careful here. Now it looks like a lot of the flying laps are seemingly over and done with here. 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session, so let's try to find somebody who's running a flying lap. I think S.Ed Smith just finished his. Let's see, Hey Tight Gaming, Twitch TV is definitely not on a flying lap with that Sector 2 time. Forza Juve, though, he has come out on his lap, but is actually 2.5 slower than his best time here. So it looks like he's being affected a tiny little bit at the very least from the wet weather conditions that seem to be slowly but surely affecting the grip on the track. But we'll stick with him ever so slightly here just to see. We'll keep an eye at least on the first sector to see if he is going to be going faster, if he opens up that DRS. No, he does not. So that was his lap, and it looks like he's either that's where he's going to be sitting, or quite possibly, if he does have enough fuel, might be going around for one more lap before the end of the session. Now Niru Nick sitting in 6th. That's an invalidated lap time for the Williams driver here, so will not be improving. Looks like SZ Smith tried to improve and might have actually improved. A 107.002, so close to a 107 flat, might as well be a 107 flat, but now we'll definitely probably be diving into the pits. So let's switch over to Hightower, as he's currently appears to be on a lap right now. So let's stick with the Aston Martin driver. I don't think we've given them much love here around over here today in this qualifying session. So let's see what he can do, see if he can improve on the P12 that he's got to his name so far. It's a 107.434 as the best time, and being 9 seconds slower is not an ideal way to improve on that time, and I think it's going to be slower here. Adaltonian, excuse me. I don't know why his name is a struggle for me so much. Apologies for that, Adaltonian. I'm gonna try to nail it as best as I can. But he does improve on his time, going 6/100ths of a second faster, but good enough to leapfrog him one position. Puts him ahead of Detail in P13, although still outside of the top 10 here at the end of qualifying. Saffron City in the Alpine appears to be heading towards the line to finish a lap. Now, possibly could be starting a lap here one more, as he does have enough ERS to make it through, and with a minute and 15 seconds to go and counting, you're going to have to be quick here, as it's going to be your final lap. Same idea for Enrique BC, as he's going to have to go. But I think for now, let's keep an eye out on Dace TG2, our current provisional pole sitter, as he is looking to possibly improve that time and solidify his pole position. For competition, he might have Niru Nix if Niru Nix can pull a lap out of that car, as Kenny retires from the session. Forza Juve is in the pits, so will not be improving on his time. So for Dace TG2, it's his pole to lose here, and through Sector 2, it's about 6 seconds slower, so will not be an improvement here for Dace TG2, as that is probably going to signal the end of his qualifying session. Niru Nix looks to be in a similar situation here, as it appears as if that car is going very slowly around here, so will not be improving either. 6 seconds slower. Here comes Tiger NASCAR though, and Tiger NASCAR is diving into the pits. So I think here at the worst possible moment, this track has just gotten so slippery here right at the end of the session that even drivers who want to be improving just will not be able to get that improvement done. Let's see Murphy, and I'm looking at the time here as he heads towards the line. I don't know if it's going to be faster. Across the line he goes. He does go faster, so 106.9, and that bumps the Alpine driver up to P7, so a solid bump up for Murphy, I believe it was. Adaltonian now coming around the final corner, going to be diving into the pits, so will not be improving. Saffron City, he's got one more lap left in him here. Let's see what the Sector 2 time is as we're riding on board with the second Alpine driver. Looking to put that car possibly near his teammate, but going 7 seconds slower is not going to help with that. And I think that's going to do it here for qualifying, as Dace crosses the line, and he does actually go faster the second time around. It's a 106.246 as the final time here on the session. But as everybody else has jumped into the pits and ending their qualifying session, what you see on the left-hand side of your screen is what you get for the start of the race. It's been a very eventful qualifying. You can really start seeing the rain falling now, but it's still through all of that dry tire running the entire way through. But if this is what we can expect here leading into the race, I am very very excited. I'm so excited that I can't even decide whether or not I want to say I'm really excited or very excited, so I combine both. That's how excited I am. But we'll be able to kick off our racing session in just a few moments here. But to take us through the order, it is Dace TG2 in the Williams starting on pole position with that 106.245. Kenny in the AlphaTauri in second on the front row of the grid here in his first race in the Division 2 Championship here this week. Forza Juve in third, Hey Tight Gaming, Nero Nix running out the top 5, Tiger NASCAR, Murph and Selly, SZ Smith, Subtlebud Hole, and Hightower round out the top 10 here in qualifying. Nicky64, Adaltonian, The Monkey Mafia, Saffron City rounding out the top 15 with Detail, Fuzel, Enrique, and the final two names that I unfortunately were unable to catch in time because my memory is not there will round out the grid. I'll take us through the order one more time here, but of course we are now ready, or just about ready, to jump into the race. Qualifying is over and done with. It is now behind us, and looking at the skies, looking at the conditions, it appears as if we are going to see possibly more of the same here leading into the race. Could be some interchangeable conditions here as cloudy skies to start the race, which could signal wet weather racing by the end of the race, and that could really bring out some interesting strategy calls here for a lot of the drivers. And given that everybody opted to set times on the softs here, I would not be surprised to see some wet weather running. Just get on the softs, put out some laps as early as possible, as quickly as you can here, get that lead, and then once the time does to take your pit stop, then you pit, you cruise, but you've got the track position. But of course, that's all a big assumption that we will be seeing rain, and that is not something I can guarantee here in the commentator's booth. But very excited to kick off this session, and of course, as I normally do, I've done my little bit of a race intro. I will be back in just a few moments here to take us through the formation lap and of course the start of the race. Just taking a quick sip of water. So thank you so much for watching the Division 2 Championship here, and I will be back in just a few moments now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have returned. Thank you so much for watching. It is just about time to kick off the race here for round 3 of the Division 2 Championship here for the Midwest Formula 1 Series. My name is Fallen Monkeys here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action. And as I peek over to the Discord, I've got my contacts in the paddock who have informed me that it will very much so, be a dry to wet race here around Interlagos here at this Brazilian Grand Prix. So this is going to be a good one. So get ready, everyone. We are in for a treat here in Brazil, and let's see how the drivers are going to fare on this fan favorite track. So Dace TG2 will be starting from pole position. He gets P1. He sees the clean track ahead of him. Kenny 25 in second on the front row of the grid. Forza Juve rounding out the top 3 here in qualifying will be in third in that Mercedes with Hey Tight Gaming Twitch TV, or Hey Tight Gaming TTV in P4 on row 2. Row 3 will be Nero Nix starting from 5th, and Tiger NASCAR in the Red Bull starting from 6th. Row 4 is Murph and Selly with SZ Smith, and Subtlebud Hole and Hightower will be taking up row 5 in positions 9 and 10. Now, rest of the grid, free choice of tires now is M. Galloway in 11th, Nicky 64 starting in 12th, Adaltonian in 13th, the Monkey Mafia, who used some of that monkey voodoo, or that monkey mafia, or possibly that mafia voodoo magic to bring in the rain here. Will be starting in P14, but finds himself possibly in his element later on this race. Saffron City behind him in 15th with Detail in 16th. Fusail in 17th with Enrique BC in 18th. Houdini in 19th with Spool and Dub 118 rounding out the grid in P20. The two Ferraris having a bit of a woeful qualifying here and are looking to improve here on their positions for the start of the race. But that has been the formation lap, and we are just about set to kick off 36 laps here around Interlagos. It is just about time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It is time, everybody. Let's get excited. Let's get hyped. We are just waiting for the cue. Let's do it here. Up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in Brazil as the driver's heading towards turn 1, battling for position. Looking to be a good start from Dace and Kenny here as they're coming through. We've got 2 wide here. Forza Juve and Heytide Gaming battling for position. It looks like it's going to be Heytide Gaming getting P2. We've got a yellow flag here further on in the background as we're nearly 2 by 2 here. What happened? It looks like that might have been Saffron City that had a big moment as we are going to continue on the racing. No yellow flags here, or possibly a detail. No, that was Saffron City. Unfortunate for him, getting caught up into an incident very early on. And oh no, we've got a big accident here as M. Galloway gets involved, and it looks like he and Nicky got involved together. And there's as they're trying to get back on track, Saffron City gaining 2 positions, but that is not ideal here for these 2 drivers early on. And Nicky getting a time second penalty for a collision for good measure. That is not what you want to be seeing here. Now we saw Niru Nix, or Forza Juve I should be saying, getting very close to Niru Nix here, as other than those few little moments, looks like for the most part everybody made it through relatively cleanly here, other than those few incidents. We've got 1 lap set here as my timing cables are as bonkers as they have been here. So let's you know what, I'll do what I did previously. No, that's not what I wanted. Let's do this, and let's do this here for the time being. I'll get the gaps back up, don't you worry about that. But of course I'm going to let them get sorted out. But what we see on your screen, here comes Detail, gonna try to make a move down the inside of the Monkey Mafia, and it looks like he will be making it, but the Monkey Mafia is keeping his nose in there, to be fair, but around the outside line, that is tough to hold here, as we've got more yellow flags a little bit further ahead. It looks to be an AlphaTauri. Who was that had a big moment? They got back on track. That was Kenny, I believe, who was all the way down to P11 and spun around once again is Kenny. That is not what you want to be seeing here on lap 2, as he is continuing his free fall down the order. And I think we spoke a little bit too soon in qualifying. The rust still seems to be there, whether he wants it to be or not. And oh no, who is that? That's Tiger NASCAR around that left-handed corner, who's struggling as well. So it looks like these conditions and is proving to be very difficult for a lot of these drivers here. As we've seen previously in the other few races, drivers are still getting used to the new game, I think, and the new systems here. And there's Adaltonian going very slow as he got caught up in the grass, as now Detail nearly getting caught up there with them. Thankfully they get that sorted out. But a few drivers here very early on with some early struggles here around Interlagos, and this track showing it's got teeth. You might not think of it as an overly challenging track, but of course what you're seeing here is, like I said, drivers pushing the car, battling for position as much as they can, and sometimes this track will fight back, as we're seeing here with some of these mistakes from the drivers. But let's quickly Here, let's do this, and let's get our, I'm going to get my interval back as Hightower is overtaking SZ Smith to go up into P7. So that's a decent overtake. Going side by side now, and overtaking Heytide Gaming TTV is Niru Nix now as they head towards turn 1 here on lap 4. So already loads of action here early on, and you can see it looks like Subtle But Whole is on a charge, and the rain is starting to fall. This is the time to make your moves, everybody, as now Subtle going around the outside. He's going to try to go the long way around. They're still side by side now as, oh no, that was a Heytide Gaming Twitch TV who got forced off, or ended up going off, losing a lot of time. I saw he and Niru Nix were having a little bit of a battle, so I'm not too sure what ended up happening there. It brought out the yellow flag, but for Heytide Gaming Twitch TV, it's a couple positions lost. He is back in P6 right now, so could have been much worse, but not ideal for the driver. But for now, though, it is a Williams 1-2 as Dace TG is seemingly in control of this race here in these early stages, with his teammate behind, albeit being pressured now by Forza Juve as they're heading towards turn 1. Here he comes. Thought about going down the inside, switching to the outside, but Niru Nix is defending that position perfectly, putting that curve where he needs it to be. Oh no! And that is a big accident here, and that is Forza Juve through, oh my goodness, and right behind, that was Heytide Gaming Twitch TV doing the exact same thing as Forza Juve. My goodness, and that is gonna bring out a safety car here, and that is gonna give me a moment just to run through what happened here, take a bit of a breather. So, as you saw, there, oh my goodness, come on, Bert Mylander, you've got to be doing better than that. You can't just knock that car like that, especially with the driver still in the seat there. But Bert Mylander, he doesn't care. He's gonna get back on track. He's gonna clear that pit lane, whether you whether you're in the car or not. But that could be in a little bit of a top 10 funky moments there. But here we are under safety car, just to get back to the action. Now, just to if you're just joining us here, may have looked away for a couple seconds here. Essentially, you saw Forza Juve was going for a move on Niru Nix. Now, was going to go to the inside of turn 1, then opted to brake a little bit early here as a Subtle nearly trying to overtake Niru Nix in the pit lane there. An interesting call from that a neat attempt is what I should be saying. But no, so Forza Juve thought about going down the inside of turn 1. That didn't quite work. Kicked it to the outside after the braking zone appeared a little bit too quickly. Came through the Senna S's, and as he was leaving the exit here, clipped that inside curb. And I think possibly due to the curbs here in this game, as we've seen oh so often, as Spoolin Dub is now out of this Grand Prix. A costly DNF here under safety car. But no, oh my goodness, just to try to finish my point. So Forza Juve either clipping the curb, possibly due to the way the curbs work here in this game, as well as the ever dangerous conditions that we're seeing being changed here. Essentially lost the car, and in that high-speed corner just got it spun and hit the wall just in a way that knocked the wheel completely off the car, and essentially totaled the car to the point where it could not be fixed. It was not going to get fixed, and that was the end of his race. Now, when we saw that very quickly in the background, as I was just keeping my camera on there for just a little bit, you saw Heytide Gaming TTV come around that same corner and pull the essentially do the exact same thing that Forza Juve did, with a very similar result, as he ended up retiring out of this session as well in very similar fashion. So, drivers, if you're watching the stream here, just a little word of advice here to learn from some of those mistakes. Watch out for that curb on the exit of what I believe is turn 3. Not this one, but this curb right over here that you're seeing Dace take. Especially when you're going at high speeds, it can be very difficult very tricky, and you can lose the back end pretty quickly. And what happened to Hightower? What is going on here? Let's quickly see with Houdini. As oh no, there's Hightower's cars. It looks like he had a similar effect, or a similar issue here as possibly Spool and Dub and Forza Juven, Heitai Gaming, Twitch TV. So it looks like that entire section of the Senna S's is just so dangerous right now. So drivers, like I said, if you've got the stream open, watch out for that. Watch out for the Senna S's. Watch out for turns 1 through 3. Because that is going to be a danger zone here as these conditions are getting worse and worse as the session continues on, as we are down to 16 runners, and 2 of these runners have unfortunately crashed out here under safety car, which could very well prolong the safety car here for an extra lap or 2. But it's Dace now, through all of that, still leading the way. Subtle But Whole finds himself in 2nd position now. Actually jumped near Nix through the pit stop. So the Red Bull team showing why they're known around the world for their quick pit stops when they can pull off strategies like that. But you know, Nero Nix is going to be hungry to get that position right back once we do go back to green flag. Enrique BC is taking another pit stop here, as it might have had some wing damage, or quite possibly just didn't put the intermediate tires on. I do believe that yes. So every driver now, it is definitely time for intermediates. We are past the point of dry tires, and it is a situation that quite possibly some of these drivers who put on the medium tires to start the race maybe weren't hoping for the rain to show up this early. They might have been hoping for some extra laps of dry tire running, so that they could really get an advantage on those medium tires before having to take their pit stops and possibly force the top 10 on the softs to go a little bit longer. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So for the most part, the order has remained relatively unchanged from the start of the grid, save for the possible incidents here. Now, oh no, this is not what Kenny was hoping for here. Is he is exploring the scenery here around Interlagos. Back on track now, but I think still getting used to that new seat in the still getting used to that AlphaTauri car. Of course, calling him in for a race here, very reminiscent of one Nico Hulkenberg, who was called in for Racing Point last season in the real life Formula 1. Just has to get used to the car. Now, Enrique BC is out of this session here right as the safety car is coming in to head back to green flag racing. So this track is very slippery, and conditions seem to be getting worse by the minute here, as the cars are bunched up together, and this is very worrisome here for the start of the race. We're looking like IndyCar here to start the Grand Prix. Here we go, back to green flag racing, as we then sort out single file heading into turn 1. We've got some overtakes being attempted, nearly 3 wide here, 2 wide from the Houdini and the Monkey Mafia. They're showing a lot of respect here, and it looks like Tiger NASCAR wants to get involved. Hightower just left the session, no worries about that, but nearly 3 wide there, going through the Senna S's to restart this Grand Prix, and as drivers are really battling it out here, as the Monkey Mafia trying to defend the Houdini. Tiger NASCAR, Kenny wants to get involved here too, as now Kenny is going to go down the outside of Tiger NASCAR, gets the move done, and does slot in ahead here. So Kenny up into P10. Now Houdini still in 9th, Monkey Mafia in 8th. But as far as the leaders are concerned, not too much change here happening. All of the action seemingly had happened at the front here. But it was an interesting safety car restart there. Nearly 2x2, 3x3. Then, of course, as you would expect, heading into turn 1, back to 2x2 or single file as drivers are planning for the corner. But that was still a very interesting sight to see, and that could have ended very poorly had one or more drivers not done what they had to do. Now, Here comes Tiger NASCAR in the tow from Houdini, but unfortunately, once they hit the braking zone, had nowhere to go, so unfortunately could not outbrake Kenny, who had the outside line and essentially the better traction through the corner with the later braking zone. So it was a solid effort here from Tiger NASCAR, but unfortunately did not quite work out in his favor, as now he's being challenged by Nicky64. What a battle this is, as now Tiger NASCAR going deep, and Nicky gets ahead. M. Galloway wants to get involved. They touch wheels a little bit there, and they keep clean, but it is M. Galloway who gets the overtake done. So Tiger NASCAR appears to be struggling in these conditions. He is gonna have to try to find some pace, maybe struggling for temperature on those tires here in these early stages after running them under safety car, but he is going to have to try to find that pace and work his way back up the grid. But he's got a ladder to climb here, as he's down in P13 and a lot of cars ahead of him here. But it looks like after the initial kerfuffle of overtaking of challenges, the drivers have kind of settled back into their race pace. We are back at it here, and of course now heading towards turn 1. Here comes Kenny now, gonna try something on Houdini, braking pretty late, but can't stick it around the outside. Houdini going a little bit deep and not taking the best line, which opens the door for a switchback here from Kenny, and once again around the outside, but finds the traction, and now it's a drag race as they head towards turn 4. Who's going to get the position? They're still side by side. Houdini has the inside line. Kenny needs to go a little bit deep through turn 4, as right behind them we've got another 2x2 battle. It's Nicky and M. Galloway getting involved, but these 4 cars are essentially dueling it out with one another. Kenny got ahead, building a bit of a gap here, but now we saw Nicky, Houdini, M. Galloway, Tiger NASCAR getting back ahead. What happened to Murphy? Oh no, Murphy had a big accident. He's falling down the order now. He's gonna have to get that wing change as well, and that is going to be a lot of time lost in the pit. So a costly mistake from Murph and Selly here on lap 11. And he's probably going to be hoping for another safety car now here to possibly catch up to the grid, or maybe a little bit of help here if he can maybe use some clean air to his advantage and just try to go for some overtakes. But speaking of overtakes, here comes Nicky now, going to try something on Houdini, very similar to what Kenny did. Brake late, going to go down the outside. Houdini though took notes from a lap ago, doesn't outbrake himself, doesn't go deep, and puts that car in a perfect position to defend Nicky and keep that Ferrari up into P9. And that is going to be where it remains here, as now M. Galloway is looking to make a move, thinking about making a push, but he's got to time this right here. You don't want to be forcing a move in these type of conditions, because that could end up very poorly for you and or your competitor here, your racer brethren, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to see drivers getting into accidents because of silly moves. But you know, there's still a lots of time left here in this race. It's only lap 12 out of 36, so still 2/3 of this race to go. So loads of time to get the overtakes done. But of course, M. Galloway can possibly sniff that P10, can sniff that top 10. He just has to go and get it and make sure he doesn't lose it he himself to the likes of Tiger NASCAR, who is making a push. But here we go once again, 1 lap later. Here comes Nicky. He's a little bit further back though now, so I don't think there's going to be an attempt. Thought about it, but definitely did not quite have the braking zone to check it in there safely. So that is where that move ends. But now he's going to try to use the tow, try to use the slipstream from Houdini. Maybe attempt an overtake as he heads towards the outside of turn 4. Brakes a little bit late, and they came close, but Houdini just had the better line, had the better traction, and he's going to hang on to that position. M. Galloway now, once again, came close, but not close enough, and this seems to be a recurring theme now in these few laps that we've been watching this battle. with the wet weather conditions, with the intermediates, DRS has been disabled. For those who have not noticed or who are not aware, oh no, that's SZ Smith, who had a moment. You can see him waiting for the coast to be clear to get back on track, and now he does get back on track, and might lose out on one more position, as that's the yellow flag for a similar incident. Nicky now much closer, side by side now, and it does get ahead of Houdini. And Galloway, though, is riding that speed, and he might try to get the overtake on both, being forced deep. Almost, it looks like Nicky is not aware that the car is alongside him on the outside. A solid defense there, but M. Galloway trying to switch back, and you can see him here. Let's actually switch over to M. Galloway is on board, as that was close here. Nicky, I think M. Galloway thought Nicky was going to leave some room, but Nicky was saying, no, if you want to pass me, you got to go down the inside. Ooh, a big moment there. That came very close. But thankfully for M. Galloway, Houdini and Tiger NASCAR are too busy having a battle of their own right behind. So doesn't lose out on too many. Doesn't lose out on any positions there. Just a little bit of time lost there from Galloway. But like I said just previously, but hang on a minute. Here comes Kenny now on the charge, going alongside of the Monkey Mafia in Sector 2. You don't see this happen too often, side-by-side battles. But it looks like, can you expect, though, anything less from the former champion here of the Midwest Formula 1 Division 1 Championship? And the Monkey Mafia putting up a solid battle here on him, but it looks like Kenny just found the traction. He's getting a feel of this car now, is Kenny. He's finding that groove, and that is now a scary thought if you're a driver ahead and a driver behind. If Kenny's finding that groove in that AlphaTauri, he is going to be a pain to deal with. He is going to be a challenge, as Tiger NASCAR now gets ahead of Houdini, gets the overtake done through the Senna S's, which is proving to be a very crucial overtaking spot here around Interlagos, which it is normally, but of course here in these intermediate tire conditions, we're still seeing a lot of battles, a lot of overtaking here through those Senna S's leading into turn 1, which of course, given that about 5 to 7 laps ago, it was probably the most dangerous section of the track. That is, it's great to see the drivers have been adapting quite well to these changing conditions, finding that groove, finding that pace now, and really working with what they've got here with these conditions. But as you can see, Kenny so close now to Detail, is going to try to go for it here, I think. On the charge, using some of that overtake here, and is gonna go towards the inside, or the inside is what Detail's gonna give him. Detail wants that outside line here, going into turn 1. Kenny, though, playing the patient game, waiting for a mistake possibly, and now coming through turn 3 is gonna be trying once again here, but Detail finding that traction. That's what you like to see from the driver ahead. So it looks like for now, this is the order that's going to remain the way it is, as Saffron City takes a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But actually, you know what? Now that we're looking at Kenny, given what we saw against the Monkey Mafia, it looks like nowhere is safe from Kenny here, as he's not afraid to lunge one down the outside here in Sector 2. He's trusting that car here in these type of conditions, and he's gonna go for it all here, it seems, as now gonna try to go down the inside. You saw Detail going a little bit deep here, and a switchback move was attempted. Detail tried to fend it off here, as they're now still going to go side by side, but the inside line was all Kenny needed, as he goes up into a top 5 position and seemingly leaves Detail in the dust. And now the Monkey Mafia is going to overtake Detail, but this is going to be a drag race into turn 1, as they're going to go side by side here. Who's going to get the position? For now, it's the Monkey Mafia who's ahead. Now it's Detail who's ahead. And coming through turns 2, now turn 3, it's back to the inside for Monkey Mafia, but Detail still has the traction, and he will hang on to that position for now. But now gonna try to lunge one down the inside. Thought about it, but was not going to happen there. So for the Monkey Mafia, it's a solid battle, but will be remaining in 7th here on lap 17 of this Grand Prix. But let's take a look here. Who else? What else are we seeing here on track? Keeping an eye out on this on these midfield battles. But of course, you're starting to see the pace difference from some of these drivers is starting to show just a little bit here with the comfort in these intermediate tire conditions, in these wet conditions here on this track, as the gaps have started to form here ever so slightly. There's still some battles, all that to be said, but you're starting to see a couple gaps here where there were not a few laps ago. And of course, some driver error mistakes have been a cause of some of these gaps. But of course, like I said, just the pace difference. Drivers getting used to the intermediate tires a little bit quicker than others here are starting to build a bit of a lead. But of course, it's still close. It could be a little bit closer though, but of course we do not have any DRS here. You will not see that rear wing flap open here down these straights, but that won't stop drivers like Fuzail to try to go for a move down the outside of Houdini. Houdini heading back to the racing line to take the corner, nearly made contact with Fuzail, but for a driver like Houdini, he knew exactly what he was doing. He left enough room, albeit only just enough, but enough room nonetheless to take that line and hang on to that position. So textbook defending from Houdini there on that position. But Fuzail, he's a tough cookie. He's not gonna give up just like that. He's gonna come right back at the Ferrari driver, and Fuzail is gonna try to get that overtake done. He wants that position. You can see it in the way he's driving. You can see it with how close he's getting. He's pushing. Oh no! But a little bit of a, oh my goodness! And there's contact there between Fuzail and SZ Smith. Unfortunately, there was not much that could happen there. Not much that could be done, unfortunately. For Fuzail, it was just a half spin at the worst possible spot. He did get the car stopped, but unfortunately, it was parked at the apex there. And from there, for SZ Smith, he had nowhere to go and just had to hope, pray to somebody that Fuzail was going to ghost. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And that is actually going to be bringing out another safety car here, as Saffron City is actually taking a pit stop here as well. Quite possibly a wing change for Saffron here too. Yes, you do see that wing is coming off, as taking the opportunity here under safety car. Nothing to lose. Might as well get a fresh set of boots, get a fresh front wing on, and of course catch right back up to the grid. Murph and Selly, though, he's probably Selly in here in that cockpit, seeing that safety car. We saw he had that mistake a little bit early after the restart under green flag, and had to pit for a new front wing, and was kind of running his own race here in no man's land. But of course, now that the safety car is out, he can catch right back up to the back of the grid, and he's going to be right back into this race. So, with about 16 laps to go now, once Days TG2 and the likes cross the line, we will be 16 laps to go now. We are under safety car. You're seeing drivers here like Days, Subtle, Adol, Tony, and Kenny taking pit stops, possibly serving penalties, getting their tires changed, getting a wing change, putting on a second set of intermediate tires here. So while these pit stops are happening, I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water before I run us through a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of updates here, what we see here under safety car, and of course the restart. But thank you so much now for the moment for watching and sticking with us here for the Midwest Formula 1 Division 2 Championship here. Lap 20 out of 36 under safety car, with Niru Nix now leading the way for the time being. Alrighty, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching here, the Midwest Formula 1 Division 2 Championship here. It is lap 21 out of 36 now, as Nero Nix is leading the way under the under safety car. And I've got a little bit of, from what I'm seeing here on the pit wall in the paddock, Haytide Gaming, TTV, was out very early on in this session, mentioning he was saying it's a very greasy track, as he was telling one of our paddock reporters down on the pit wall to take his words, quote, like I was driving on a Big Mac, quote, Haytide Gaming Twitch TV. So that is his thoughts here on that track very early on, as we saw the conditions get worse and worse. So, but unfortunately for Haytide Gaming, it's an early end to the session. Unfortunately, driving on a Big Mac doesn't go as well as eating a Big Mac for all intents and purposes, and unfortunately that was Haytide out of the race. One of the DNFs a little bit earlier on, and it appears as if there was a little bit of contact under safety car between Enrique and Hightower. Not too sure if that is what ended up causing the DNFs from those two drivers, but that is essentially the situation here from what I'm seeing on the pit wall, on the paddock, and the news that is being provided to me from what I can see. So keeping everybody updated here, as we are still under safety car, and just I think waiting for Murfincelli to catch up to the grid before the safety car can truly come in and start the race here. Of course, I think we might only have one more lap, and we could be heading back, regardless of if Murfincelli does catch up. You want to hope that he does, just for the sake of getting back into this race. He's gonna have to close up about 25 seconds or so. Of course, pace is a little bit slower under safety car, but it's much different doing this in these intermediate tire conditions compared to dry tires like we would see previously. But that is the case nonetheless. Now, it looks like, from what I'm seeing, as you'll notice here with the tire graph, Nero Nix and Nikki64, they decided they wanted to stay out on that same set of intermediate tires. They're feeling comfortable here with what they've got on. Everybody else, though, decided they were going to take a pit stop here under safety car, get that fresh set of boots on. So it's going to make things very interesting here once we do get back to green flag racing, to see will these top two drivers be able to hang on. Ooh, that is not going to help us. Nero Nix goes for a spin under safety car. That is definitely not going to help his case, as he is going to fall a long way back, as he is going to end up right at the back of the grid here, just waiting for the train to go by. And of course, as that happens, the safety car is coming in this lap. So a costly mistake from Nero Nix. But of course, we've seen Nero in this position before, taking a little bit of a spin here with a few laps to the end, and still having a very solid recovery drive. So this isn't uncharted territory, but of course he's definitely got his work cut out for him here today. But safety car is now into the pit lane, and we are seeing here Nicky is now leading the charge. Kenny and M. Galloway exchanging positions. That could be a little bit worrisome here as we're heading to green flag racing. But going side by side here through turn 1, 2 by 2 with the overtakes nearly. The Monkey Mafia is reigniting that battle with Kenny. It looks like that was Nero Nix, I think, is continuing to fall down the order. Here comes M. Galloway now trying to make a move on the inside of Kenny. Monkey Mafia did get through. Kenny finds the outside line. The Monkey Mafia going a little bit wide here through that corner, but it won't be too big of a deal there, as that's going to be remained unchanged for these positions. But we are back seeing some crazy battles here in the midfield pack here with this safety car restart. Kenny going to try to lunge one down the outside, or the inside of Monkey Mafia here. We saw this move through Sector 2 a few laps ago when they went side by side. Kenny, I think he's thinking, well, hey, if it worked once, it could work again. But of course, the Monkey Mafia, anything but a monkey brain in the cockpit of that car. Very wise driver, and he knows you know, you're not going to get me twice with that same type of move. But Fuzel, he has a bit of a moment, going a little bit slow, oh my goodness, and loses the back end of that car. You saw as it made a little bit of contact with Saffron City. Thankfully, though, I don't think created any damage to anybody other than possibly himself there. Could just be some side pod damage, though. Nothing on the front wing. That does give Nero Nix an extra position back, so he gains one. But for Fuzel, a costly mistake there for him. Lets him fall down the order. Murph and Selly, though, like I said, he caught back up to the queue with the safety car, and he's making moves, getting ahead of Houdini. And speaking of Houdini, it looks like Shelf the Turtle, he's saying in the chat, Houdini needs the points. One driver in Division 3 and Division 4, as well as a DNF here from his teammate of Houdini. So yes, Houdini definitely needs the points. Got to keep his nose clean here, because of course it is 12th place, but I mean, points. P12 points is still points at the end of the day, and when you're in a situation where you do need points, you'll take them any way you can get them. Things like that, though, are definitely going to help, as that subtle but hole, unfortunately, having a little bit of a moment here through the exit, maybe trying to get a little bit too quickly on the power, and now he's fallen way down the order, down near the back. Gets back on the track now, but is going to be slow. Here comes Saffron City now, going side by side, trying to make a move on Houdini. Houdini, unfortunately, making it a little bit easy there, as he gets forced to the outside, the non-optimal line here, taking that banking, especially in these types of conditions. So Saffron does get ahead, and for Subtle, he is going to have to take a pit stop here for good measure. Not ideal for the Red Bull driver, but sometimes that does happen. Oh, here we go. Kenny now gonna try a move on Detail. He came close, a 1/10 of a second behind. Hits the brakes a little bit early. Gonna try to lunge one down the inside, I think. Yes, he will. He's got that front wing just alongside, and is he gonna stick it around? It looks like he's gonna try. He gave it a valiant effort, did Kenny, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite there. The traction wasn't there the same way as it would be with the dries, and you know, that's the type of driving that you can come to expect from a driver as skilled as Kenny in the AlphaTauri. You know, it was something that one of our other broadcasters here, Crash, had mentioned here from a lot of these Division 1 drivers, current and former, and it's an art that you're seeing here in Division 2 as well from some of these drivers here, especially those near the front, that they just seem to have a way of just keeping with you and essentially either forcing you to make a mistake or essentially just sticking it around a corner you wouldn't expect, and then before you know it, you're being overtaken and you don't even realize it until it's too late to do anything about it. But that's the type of skill that's essentially separates the men from the boys here, so to say, here in Formula 1 sim racing, and it's something that Kenny's been showing off quite well here in Brazil, and has paid off for him with some solid overtakes here so far, and possibly more to come. But we are here just like that in the last 10 laps of the race. M. Galloway is putting a lot of pressure on the Monkey Mafia, who, to be fair to the Monkey Mafia, is trying to keep up. That's Saffron City, who had a bit of a moment, and that is going to bring out another safety car here for what I can only assume was the accident from Saffron. He's got no front wing, so debris is going to have to be cleaned up. So with 10 laps to go to the end of the Grand Prix, we've done 26, and we are essentially going to have a rolling start for a 10-lap sprint to the finish. This or less than 10 lap sprint to the finish, I should say. This is going to be good. Get ready, everyone. We are in for an absolute treat, as Bert Mylander awaiting to pick up the front of the grid here. Nicky 64 was leading the previous safety car after the costly mistake from Nero Nix, is still leading here, and he's essentially making the best of not taking a pit stop here to get off of those intermediate tires. The question, though, for Nicky is, of course, Will he be able to make it to the end of this Grand Prix on that set? And will they have enough pace, enough traction to get him to the end in one piece in this position? Or will we see the likes of Dace, Adaltonian, Detail, even Kenny that I keep bringing up and keep talking about here, down in 5th? Even the Monkey Mafia, he's been having a fantastic race here. It's all to play for here under the safety car restart once we do get to it in a couple laps time here. But once again, I'm going to take a quick sip of water, just a little bit of a breather before I take us through the last 7-8 laps of this Grand Prix for what is going to be an absolute bonkers of a finish. Thank you so much for watching here, the Midwest Formula 1 Division 2 Championship. We will be back in just a few moments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have returned. We are back here in Interlagos. It's lap 28 out of 36 for the Midwest Formula 1 Division 2 Championship here, round 3 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. We are under safety car for that came out after Saffron City. I had a little bit of an accident here. Didn't really affect anybody else other than he alone, but it did bring out the safety car to clear up that debris. But this is going to be a good one here. It looks like I'm looking at the chat here. We've got Shells the Turtle. Looks like Nicky is willing to risk old tires for position. Wonder how this turns out for him. I'll be honest, Shells the Turtle, your guess is as good as mine. Hoping to see Nicky have a good result, but like I was saying before my little water break, he's got a lot of very quick drivers behind him here. Dace, we've seen the pace he had. He got pole position in qualifying for a reason here, and he's been essentially all around the top 3 here this race. But of course, if I switch over out of the tire, a 5-second penalty to his name, and that is very much so going to affect him here as we're heading into the last 6-7 laps of this Grand Prix. Let's keep those penalties up for everybody watching here at home, just so we can get an idea. Now, of course, when you do have penalties like this, these late safety cars are the bane of your existence, because the whole grid is bunched up, as you can see. So falling 5 seconds is going to hurt a lot more than if you just had a race fully under green, and with the gaps that generally tend to form due to the battles, due to the pace difference, due to the tire management, the pit stop strategies, etc. But of course, under safety car, we're essentially back to a neutral playing field, as it is going to be coming in this lap. We are heading back to green flag racing for a 6-lap sprint here of the Grand Prix. Hightower, 8 laps to go, 6 laps to go here once we do start the or I guess 7 if I count lap 30. Yes, so it will be 7 laps to go, as I've got to learn my count here. It's the starting lap 30 out of 36. You can see Daltonian getting ahead, trying to make a move. We're back to this IndyCar type start here, heading back to green flag racing. Always dangerous here heading into turn 1, but here we go. Oh, we had the great view. Oh my goodness, it's 3 wide here as Kenny having to go towards the outside. And it was 3 wide again. Oh no! And there goes the Monkey Mafia. He is out of this, out of contention here. Not out of the race, although it probably came close, but a costly mistake for Monkey Mafia. But back to the action. Murph and Selly gonna go around the outside here of Tiger NASCAR, going deep though, and Tiger NASCAR gets that position right back. Oh, but a little bit of a tank slapper there, and that is gonna invite Murph and Selly to come right back at him. They're still side by side now as they head up the hill into Sector 2. This is a crazy battle, helped by some contacts, some mistakes, and it's going to be Murph and Selly who gets the position, and now Nero Nix is going to get involved as he finds himself back in P10 and is going to try to get ahead. But for Nero Nix though, he finds himself the meat in a Red Bull patty sandwich. So you got to watch out here, as if you're not careful, Subtle might just snag that position right from under you, with the help of Tiger NASCAR in the process. But as we're through the carnage of lap 1, the chaos of lap 1, it's still Nicky64 leading the charge, but you can see Dace is on the hunt. He is charging here, and oh my goodness, I'm riding on board, and I have just noticed there seems to be a distinct lack of rain falling here on the track. What is going on here with this Grand Prix? This is going to be a crazy finish here, I think. We'll see if the track is going to stay wet enough, or if we're going to see calamity at the end of the race. Kenny, though, not affecting him. He gets ahead of Adaltonian to get up into a podium position. He's up into P3 right now here on lap 31. 5 laps to go in this Grand Prix and counting. And it looks like I'm seeing here on the chat, we've got some cheering for Houdini, some cheering for Aston, some encouragement to pit for softs here. It's all to play for. Let's see how this is gonna happen. Your guess is as good as mine on what's gonna happen here at the end of this Grand Prix. But what I can say is M. Galloway might be trying to go for an overtake on Adaltoni and get ahead, try to build that 3-second gap of his own. But let's see what happens, as looks like drivers are gonna continue on for at least one more lap here to start lap 32, and I think we might just see every driver just tough it out on these intermediates. Just the more I'm thinking about it, just because why pit so close to the end unless everybody else pits? If Nicky pits, then it's a different story. But if Nicky stays out, if these front runners stay out, everybody else will as well, I think. And of course DRS is still disabled, so I don't think we're going to be seeing pit stops anytime soon. But what we will see is Murph and Selly make an overtake on Detail to go up into P7 with a solid aware move around the inside here, seeing Detail going deep, taking advantage of that mistake and getting the overtake done, and snagging an extra position here is Murph and Selly. But we're back here. Look at how close Dace is to Nicky. Dace is putting all of the pressure, but the laps are counting down here quicker than what we're seeing, and look at this, DRS is now enabled. Generally in the past, that's been the cue to take a pit stop here. Are we gonna see this? Happen here going to the end of the race? Here, ooh, Nicky almost faked out Dace into the pits, but Dace, with the help of DRS, makes the overtake done. They're gonna go side by side here, and there you have it. We have a new leader on track of the Grand Prix. Dace takes the lead here, but everybody is staying out. Saffron City and Fuzail are they're taking a pit stop, and we've got a virtual safety car. What is going on here for some wing damage? So the race has been neutralized. You're seeing a lot of drivers near the back taking a pit stop here. I'm not surprised that we didn't get a full safety car, but oh my goodness, this is crazy. Some of these drivers have opted, they wanted to take a pit stop. But now the question is, they've got 3-4 laps to close this gap up and really make some moves. Take your predictions now, ladies and gentlemen. What is going to happen here? Are we going to see the likes of Tiger NASCAR, Houdini close this gap back up and make a push? Or is it too little, too late with the amount of laps that are left? Honestly, I don't even want to make a prediction because I'm just going to jinx somebody or another. Saffron City taking a speeding under the safety car drive-through penalty. That's not going to help. We're back to green flag racing. Let's go. Lap 33 out of 36. What is going to happen here? That is the Monkey Mafia, though, not having a good time as, oh my goodness. And just because things couldn't get even more crazy, now we're seeing everybody else essentially take a pit stop, except for Kenny, SZ Smith, Murph and Selly, Detail, and it looks like Subtle are going to be staying out. Everybody else taking a pit stop here, but is it gonna be the right call? Let's look at the gap here. It's 9 seconds with 2 laps to go. This is going to be big, but already look at this. Tiger NASCAR, who took a pit stop here, I believe it was 1 lap prior, has already overtaken the likes of Nikki now, but down to 8.8 seconds. But I think, I do believe if they can just hang on here, just keep the car under control, is gonna be slow, but they might just be able to make it here, or Kenny might with the pace. But everybody else who's a little bit further behind, especially if they're caught battling, might be in a difficult situation here. Adaltonian getting overtaken by Dace. We had a yellow flag here for somebody somewhere along the way. But look at this gap. It's already down to 4.4 seconds. Tiger NASCAR catching up to his teammate. This is going to be a crazy finish here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The gap is closing. The leaders are still staying out. The top 5, they're committing to these inters to the end. Here comes Dace now, gonna try and overtake on Nikki. Let's just watch this for a little bit. Is the move gonna get done? He's being forced way to the inside here. Nikki trying to defend that position, but it came all for naught. As now Adaltonian thought about going down the inside. Houdini now making a move now. He's back into his element, getting ahead of M. Galloway on these soft tires. There you have it. Tiger NASCAR getting ahead of his teammate. The charge is on now for Tiger NASCAR. The Red Bull driver, he's on the penultimate lap, and he can see P4. Look at that lunge down the inside. Takes 1 car, 2 cars. Can he get 3? Oh my goodness, what a move from Tiger NASCAR, getting 3 cars in a span of a corner and a half. If that's not an overtake of the year, I don't know what is. But now he's got 4 seconds to close that gap. Can he do it? Can he get the victory here? We've got a yellow flag. Subtle. The tires gave out. That's it for Subtle. He's fallen down the order now and probably regretting not taking a pit stop. Dace is starting to get the moves. But honestly, I'm sorry. I gotta stick with Tiger NASCAR here. We're starting the final lap. And Kenny, in that AlphaTauri, he was running a great race, but you know he's sweating. And look at this. Is it a challenge? Oh my goodness. Straight line speed is straight line speed, but look at this in the corners. Hey Kenny, how's it going? Bye Kenny, nice seeing ya. We'll check back after the race. Tiger NASCAR takes the lead on the final lap as we've got yellow flags coming everywhere. A huge battle here as Nikki now is on the charge. SZ Smith with his teammate M. Galloway, they're still battling along, but you're seeing the soft tire runners. They've just got so much more pace. And those who stayed on the intermediates, that was the bad call. That was not what you should have been doing here. You had to take a pit. Now, of course, it's easy for me to say hindsight 2020 from the commentator's booth, but oh my, this has been a bonkers of a race. And here in Brazil, it is not disappointed and it's still not done. You're still seeing overtakes like crazy. Oh no, SZ Smith is now falling down the order here. So he needs to get back on track. That's Kenny now finds himself outside of a podium, but might get it back here as Tiger NASCAR takes the victory. Kenny, though, still in P2 after all of that, keeping a clean race. And are you kidding me? Nero Nix back on the podium. Remember, he took that spin under the safety car with about, 10-15 laps to go to the end. And once again, he's 2 for 2 with those. You saw that on race 1. Here we are, race 3. Nero Nix from last to podium. My goodness. I gotta... Whew. I gotta catch my breath here. That was a crazy race here right at the end of the session. My goodness, and it looks like Chat agrees with me with that. Crazy, fantastic, fantastic. P4 for Houdini through all of that as Monkey Mafia crossing the line in style, not getting the outcome he was hoping for there, but still something to see it. Oh, for extra measure, even more style here right at the end. But my goodness, Houdini, driver of the day, and from a driver who was just seemingly just P12 at best up to P4. What a drive from Houdini. What a drive from Tiger NASCAR with that pit stop. He called the strategy perfectly, and he finds himself on the top step of the podium. Now, you gotta hand it to Kenny. Was there through the entirety of the race. Was leading on to start lap 36, but the call to stay out was not the ideal call, and that's sometimes how the cookie crumbles. But still, a great drive. But what a race! Honestly, race of the season so far, and a very good candidate for race of the season, just as an early prediction. But there is your victor, there is your order. Tiger NASCAR pulling it off. He takes the victory here, takes the maximum amount of points here for the Red Bull team. Kenny in second in the AlphaTauri. Niru Nix on the podium here for the Williams with another solid drive. P3. Houdini in P4. Nicky rounding out the top 5. Dace, M. Galloway, Detail, Fuzel, Adaltonian rounding out the top 10. Murph and Selly, SZ Smith, Subtle But Whole, The Monkey Mafia, Saffron City rounding out the top 15. Then, of course, the DNFs, Enrique Hightower, Spool and Dub, Forza Juve, and Hey Tight Gaming, TTV to round that out. But my goodness, what a race that was, and I'm honestly, I can't wait to get some post-race thoughts from the podium after that crazy, bonkers, chaotic, say what you want, Brazilian Grand Prix. And yeah, I honestly, I'm speechless. You might be hearing it with my my lack of words, but I'm honestly speechless here from that race. That's honestly one of the best races I've been able to witness and calm. So really can't wait to get some input. But there is that Red Bull here, and I'll be back. Well, here, I'm not going to be back. I'll try to keep y'all company here, but of course, you're probably not seeing much on your screen right now. That's perfectly normal, as I just get the invites sent off for the podium interviews here. As let's try to get here Tiger NASCAR in, see if he's willing to talk to us here. If he's too busy with the celebration, I don't blame him one bit. But I would love to get his thoughts with that strategy. Definitely want to get Kenny in here too. Get his thoughts here on that chaotic race. Came oh so close to pulling it off, but unfortunately, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not necessarily in Formula One. And of course, the guy I seemingly can't get enough of here, Niru Nix. What a drive! I mean, I'm giving a lot of credit to a lot of drivers, but I mean, Niru Nix, you got to give credit to the determination from this driver here, going from last on the grid once again up to a podium. Let's get these invites sent off, and let's get the input from the drivers back to the showroom here, and let's wait and see if we've got some drivers. And here we go. Tiger NASCAR has jumped in here for the first of the post-race interviews. Tiger NASCAR, can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect. So, what a race! I mean, it kept us guessing right to the end. From 6 on the grid, you were always around, but it seems like the crucial turning point was that pit stop right at the end. Went on the charge from there, but talk us through it. What were your thoughts here after that hectic Brazilian Grand Prix?
Yeah, I was pretty slow in the wet. I couldn't make it. I was kind of stuck in 10th place, so I saw the DRS was enabled, so when I was going into the main straight that time, I thought I may as well try. And surprisingly, no one came, which I was shocked about. And then the VSC came out, which was I couldn't believe it when it happened. I originally, when I got past everybody up to second, I didn't think I was gonna have a chance. And then I just realized he was only 5 seconds up the road, anyways. So I think I could have done it, and I still can't believe what happened.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, that makes two of us here with that. Now, I mean, there is something I do want to touch upon because you essentially found yourself in I think it was P5, P6. You're catching up, and I mean, you pulled off essentially that you overtook I think 4 cars in a span of a corner and a half. Now, never mind they were running the intermediate tires while you're on the optimal tire, but I just want to get your thoughts. Like that overtake, was your heart racing at all getting past all those cars so quickly, seemingly like as if you bumped the AI down to zero, or like just talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit nervous because I definitely knew I was gonna have a shot at the podium, and because they're on intermediates, they're so slow compared to everybody like me who are on softs. So it was a bit scary, but I was able to navigate them safely. So that's all that matters, really.
Yep, and I mean a good haul of points for you here with the victory. Now it is we're still early in the season, but how confident are you that you can keep up this type of showings here throughout the rest of the season?
I don't think I'm that confident, but Brazil isn't one of my better tracks, so hopefully it'll get a little bit better throughout the season. But yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it was a solid drive for me here today, pulling off the strategy, and congratulations on the victory. And enjoy the figurative champagne.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Now, I did see Nero Nix jumped in. So, Nero, can you hear us at all?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So let's put that. No, you're not in the Alpha Tower. You're in the Williams here. So let's put that
Yes,
up on the
sir.
screen here. So from P5 on the grid to leading the race under safety car to having a bit of a moment under safety car, fall into the back of the grid, but for the second time in 3 race weeks, saying easy peasy, I got this, and charging your way back up to a podium. Talk us through it. What were your thoughts here on that race?
Oh my god, right at the end, I thought, oh, maybe I get P4, maybe I get P5. And when I see the penalties, my heart just was so happy. If you'd been with me, I screamed like around the house. I was so happy that I finished P3 at the end. My dad came into the room and he like, what's wrong? Is there a problem? No, I finished P3 from last place in the grid. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I spun and I'm now in P3 again. I pushed back all the way. I honestly wasn't expecting people to get these amount of penalties on the race. I do understand it's raining. It's a problematic track as well because it's short, it's tight. And what shocked me the most was that people stayed out in the inters all the way till the end. And that was like, there was a corner, like going up the uphill to the right, I passed 4 people on that corner. And that's like, why did you stay out in the inters? Yeah, I struggled so much for that last lap that I was good enough to actually catch up to everyone.
Yeah, I mean it was a close call to the end, and I saw the strategy going both ways. Just with the 3 laps to go to the end, I think some of the lead drivers felt that they could just hang on to the gap, but I mean the track just essentially went from soaking wet to dry in a span of a blink of an eye.
Yeah,
and I think and I think you planned the pit stop accordingly. Now, were you debating whether or not to stay out, or were you just
I
committed to pitting once the generally I'll say once the DRS sign came up, which tends to be the cue to dry tire running?
Yeah, Jeff told me to come in lap 32. I didn't want to come in because I still didn't feel the track was just dry enough. I didn't feel comfortable for me, so I just stayed out one singular more lap and I came in because I knew it was like it was the turning point. I had to switch no matter what if I had to go fast and finish well. So I didn't think about it. I just said, okay, it's not dry enough. One more lap. Let's come in right after it. And lo and behold, I was able to push fast enough.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is once again another podium for you here today, and I mean, similar to the similar question I had for Tiger NASCAR with the with now I think it's at least two podiums, maybe a third one. I actually can't remember where you ended up finishing last week, but how confident are you going?
Monaco, right?
Yeah, that was Monaco.
Yeah, it was 3 podiums then.
Yeah, so now 3 podiums in 3 races. So now, how confident are you feeling now on the continuation of the season to we'll find yourself back here in the post-race podium interview, but possibly considering yourself, are you considering yourself a favorite for the championship here in the early stages?
Well, it depends on how many races we do have left. Because I believe we do have around 13 more races. Anything can change, like literally anything. I could probably lose 5 races in a row, get no luck, but maybe for now, yeah. To answer your question, yes, maybe yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, I mean, it is a true point. It's a long season, but of course, banking those points now can definitely help out heading down the stretch. But congratulations on another podium and another fantastic drive here today.
Thank you.
No problem. So let's see. I think. Yep. So I think so Kenny is not jumping into the post-race interviews for the time being. So I think we're gonna end off the stream here. But what a race that was! Oh my goodness! I cannot stress that enough. This has already got me excited for what we can come to expect next week. Once we head to the deserts of Bahrain for the Bahrain Grand Prix, that is going to be a good one here. Really excited. You're not going to want to miss that. Same time, same place, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, right here on the channel. Here. But until then, on behalf of everybody at Midwest Formula One, my name is Fallen Monkey saying thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a fantastic evening.